back. In today's video, I'm going to show you how to make the best cinnamon rolls that you will ever eat in your entire life. That's a huge statement, but really this recipe is amazing and it makes for the softest, most flavorful and delicious cinnamon rolls. I'm not gonna say it's like a super simple and easy recipe. It does take a bit of work, a bit of patience, but it is totally worth it. So I've seen a couple of different internet sites do kind of like a contest where they test out different cinnamon roll recipes and decide which is the best one. And this recipe has won a couple of them, so it's really good. The author of this recipe is a food blogger named Sarah Kiefer. She has a couple cookbooks. She's amazing, and I'll leave her blog post if you want to read that and all the details in the description box below. But in this video, I'm going to try and explain the whole recipe in a simpler way, with the steps, how much time you have to wait. You can actually make this recipe like 72 hours in advance. Like you can start the recipe 72 hours before you actually eat the cinnamon rolls. You could do it 48 hours before or just 24 hours before. So this recipe is actually divided into a few different days. It can be one day, like full 24 hours, or you could do it even longer if you want to make these in advance. But basically you make your dough, you put it in the fridge, and then the next morning it's when you roll it out, assemble it, and bake your cinnamon rolls. So this recipe is perfect for special occasions with the holidays coming up. This is the ultimate Christmas morning breakfast. I know I'm going to be making this for my family when I go home to visit them. I hope you enjoy this recipe, and let's get started going over the ingredients. Okay, so for this recipe, we're going to be using some room temperature eggs, warm milk, honey, flour, some instant yeast, just 1 packet, a little bit of salt, and some butter. Alright, so the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to grease a bowl, and in another smaller bowl, I'm going to combine my eggs and my honey. Since I'm using active dry yeast, I'm going to activate this in my warm milk. Okay, so I've got my stand mixer fitted with the paddle attachment, and I'm going to add the flour and the salt, give that a little stir to combine. And now I'm going to add my egg mixture and my milk and continue to combine this on low. Alright, with the mixer still on low, we're going to be adding little pieces of the butter into the mix. And so you add a little piece, you wait until you see that it's gotten incorporated into the dough, and then you add another one, and you keep on doing this until you've used up all your butter. Now that all our butter is in the dough, we're going to increase the speed up to medium, and you want to beat this on medium for about 1 minute. Okay, so we're done mixing the dough. It's going to be extremely sticky, so help yourself with a spatula and transfer this into the bowl that we had greased at the beginning. What we're going to do now is cover the bowl with some plastic wrap and let this rise for 30 minutes. We're going to let this dough rise for 2 hours, but every 30 minutes we're going to uncover the plastic wrap and do this folding motion that you're observing right now. So you kind of dig your hand into the dough and pull it over until all of the dough has folded over onto itself. And we're gonna have a total of 4 foldings over this period of 2 hours while the dough rises. Now, why do we do this? Why can't we just let it rise and it's done? So when we do the folds, you're actually developing more gluten in the dough, and it's basically just gonna make for better structure, better texture, better everything in these cinnamon rolls. So every time that the 30 minutes are up, fold the dough, put another timer on your phone for another 30 minutes. Before you know it, 2 hours have gone by and you've folded your dough. All right, at this point, we just put our dough and we put it into the fridge at least overnight. So these are overnight cinnamon rolls because basically when you're done with all the folding, you grab some plastic wrap and just put it over your bowl and put it in the fridge overnight. Now, if you want to make these even more in advance, you can leave the dough in the fridge for up to 72 hours. I just did overnight and they turned out amazing. All right, so the next day, which is today, you take the dough out of the fridge and you want to put it over a floured surface and just knead it a little bit, probably 10 to 12 times, while the dough is straight out of the fridge, very cold. And this is just to wake up the gluten in the dough a little bit, and then you let it rest. So cover it with a little kitchen tea towel and let it come to room temperature. It'll come to room temperature in about 20 to 30 minutes. So while this is going on, you can make your filling. And for the filling, it's very basic. All you need is cinnamon, sugar, butter, and a little bit of salt. So now that the dough has come to room temperature, we're gonna roll it out into a large rectangle, and be sure to be flouring your dough and whatever it is that you're using to roll it out constantly so that it doesn't stick to anything. And now comes one of my favorite parts of the process, which is adding the filling and rolling up the cinnamon rolls. So just kind of sprinkle on the cinnamon sugar filling and then press it down and be sure to work it into the complete surface of your rectangle dough. All right, and now starting from the long side of the dough, we're going to tightly roll this up into a big log. Now using a very sharp knife, we're going to cut the rolls, and depending on how big you want your rolls to be, you can cut them into either 12, 10, or 8. Now our cinnamon rolls are going to go into an oven that has been preheating at 350 degrees Fahrenheit, 180 degrees Celsius, and you want to make sure that you put these on a rack that has been positioned right in the middle of your oven. Okay, the tip here is to actually set a timer because you do not want to overbake your cinnamon rolls. We've worked so hard for them. The last thing we want are like hard or burnt cinnamon rolls. So the baking time for this is 27 to 32 minutes, and it depends on how big you've cut your cinnamon rolls, how long they will take to bake. But set your timer for 27 minutes and then start checking on them. As soon as that timer goes off, notice that they still need a little bit longer, then just kind of like stay by the oven and let them in there for 3 to 5 minutes. Keep checking on them. While our cinnamon rolls are in the oven, we're going to make the icing. Okay, so the ingredients that we're gonna need for the icing are room temperature butter and cream cheese, some vanilla extract, a little bit of salt, and some powdered sugar. Once you see that your cinnamon rolls are golden brown, they're done. So be sure to take them out and let them cool for 5 minutes, because now it's time to ice them. And I'm going to show you a little trick that was included in this recipe that makes for soft and gooey cinnamon rolls every single time. So we're going to be adding a thin layer of icing to these freshly baked, still very warm cinnamon rolls. I took them out of the oven 5 minutes ago, and we're gonna do this because the icing is going to melt over them since they're still so warm, and it's gonna make sure that any parts that were maybe like a little bit overbaked or hard go really soft, and it's just gonna keep your cinnamon rolls soft and gooey even after they have cooled. I am extremely happy with how these turned out. This recipe really is amazing. Yes, it takes a bit of effort and a bit of time, but honestly, patience in baking is a virtue, and if you get results as amazing as this, I mean, this is perfect like to make for Christmas morning or just any special occasion. You really show someone that you love them if you make them these cinnamon rolls. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and definitely try out this recipe if you want to eat the best cinnamon rolls of your life. All the patience and hard work totally pays off. They're amazing. Thank you for watching. Subscribe if you want more videos like this, and I'll see you next time.